Hi, I'm Dr. Margreet Wibbeling, midwife specialist and your host of the Birth and Baby show, brought to you by Sister Lillian Center and Sensitive Midwifery. We empower moms and midwives to have the best birthing and parenting experience through natural, physiological, and intuitive care, resulting in birth and baby advice you can trust. This episode is sponsored by Pregnaplex. Pregnaplex has been specifically formulated to provide support during your special journey. The carefully selected ingredients have been created to provide you with essential nutrients needed before, during, and after pregnancy. Every tablet is a tribute to the timeless journey of motherhood, thoughtfully designed to support you every step of the way. Our signature blend is enriched with zinc, known for nurturing radiant skin, supporting a healthy reproductive system, and bolstering immunity, and folic acid, which is an essential nutrient for a healthy pregnancy. Together, they weave a protective and nourishing cocoon, ensuring both you and your baby thrive in harmony. Pregnaplex is available at Dis-Chem, Clicks, or your local pharmacy. For more information, visit www.zinplex.co.za. In this episode, I'll be talking to Karen Wilmot. Karen is a remarkable person in the world of childbirth and maternal care. And I've gotten to know her also as a great entrepreneur in this beautiful world of childbirth. And today we'll be talking of one of the products that Karen has designed, which is the Relax In Sling. So if you don't know what that is, don't worry, because it's quite new. I also didn't know what it was, but it's really going to revolutionize your birth. It's a wonderful tool that will help you to be relaxed during pregnancy and birth. And Karen will be telling all about it. But before we talk of Karen, I just want to sing her some more praises. Karen has been working right across the world. She's been in Mexico, Saudi Arabia. She's even worked with the royal family of Oman. She started up mom and baby clinics, and then she ventured into an online journey where she became the virtual midwife. And she is really, really passionate about empowering couples to have the most beautiful childbirth and reducing all sorts of unnecessary fears in the process of doing that. She has returned back to the country of her birth, and we're so proud to have her in South Africa, where there's so many women that are filled with fear when it comes to childbirth. And Karen is a great advocate and have so many tools to help you to reduce those fear and empower yourself. So you must check her out, Karen Wilmot. She's the real deal. Hey Karen, so nice to see you. How are you doing?
Very well. Thank you so much for inviting me to your show. It was really exciting. Thank you.
Yeah, it's such a pleasure. I know you've got such amazing things to share with the world. Karen, I know quite a lot about you, but just for our listeners, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Ooh. Well, essentially, I'm a midwife trained in South Africa, and I've spent a lot of my time working in the field of women's health. I also spent a lot of my adult life traveling and working in the Middle East. And while I was there, a lot of what I did was recognizing and working with lots of different cultures. And, so often when people knew that I was working overseas, they'd say, oh, how is that? Especially when they knew I was working in the Middle East. What is it like? Are the husbands present? Are they available? Do they like being at the birth? And the reality is that, it doesn't matter where you are in the world or what your cultural background is or your education level, babies are made and born the same way. And women need to be treated with the same amounts of respect. And birth requires the same amounts of respect and reverence. And what I learned there was that actually birth is so much more respected than right here in South Africa, which was really, really beautiful. And a lot of what I did there
birth is more respected.
In a way, yes. I mean, it's just a very different cultural, the cultural beliefs around birth there were, it was such an honor, and there was a lot more ritual around it, specifically for the woman afterwards, that postpartum period, which we know is so important. At least there culturally, they are given those 6 weeks, those 40 days, where it is go and live with their mom, and the woman all gather around, which of course brings its own hassles in a way, but it's still very much part of the tradition to go and spend it and be with women and be pampered and give the mom time to really settle into her new role as a mom and as a mother, and as a carer and nurturer for her newborn baby, which we don't really honor as much here in South Africa. It's something that's, I think, becoming more recognized as necessary, but there isn't a process or a tradition around it. It has to be actually put in place. And it's quite
So
difficult.
true and so important. Yeah. Wow. So Karen, you've learned so many things from your travels and the different aspects of your work. You've been a midwife with different kind of hats on, as I can say that. But if I sum you up, then I feel like you've come to the you love empowering people and empowering women when it comes about births and having beautiful births and respected births. You've already said it, but by telling more about yourself. Karen, why do you think is it that important to empower people?
I think because the amount of times I speak to women in their 50s and 60s, sometimes about something completely different, but then it comes up in conversation that I'm a midwife and that I have a lot to do with birth. And when they share their birth story with me, it's like they're back there.
Yeah.
And if it was good, then they're speaking about it with joy and with a beautiful, joyful memory. If it was traumatic or challenging, it's almost like they're reliving that trauma. It's a memory that is with you for the rest of your life. And like I say, around the world, it's treated differently. But I think what is quite universal is that it's become very medicalized. We've taken a lot of the beauty around the nature of birth and then the physiology of birth. And for me, it's about bringing that back and sharing that with a woman of how important this is. And it's not just about having the best and most expensive pram and all the right gadgets. And it's so easy to be caught up in all of those things, which are part of it. And it's really beautiful and so exciting going and shopping for all of those things. But the reality is that it's a transformation, and it's a transformation. You are becoming a new person when you are pregnant and you're growing a baby. And when you birth that baby, there's a massive transformation that takes place. And for some women, I know that it is just a process of like, I've made this baby and it needs to come out. But the way a baby comes out is actually such an important part. And when a woman recognizes that both for herself and for the baby, I think it's life-changing. And that's what I love to work with is bringing that importance and knowledge and insight into the possibility and the potential for transformation through pregnancy and childbirth into the whole process. And then it changes everything, because then you are more inspired to learn about the different ways that a baby can be born, and what is the way that you would like to bring your baby into this world.
Yeah, that's all so many important things that you've mentioned now. I want to jump on all different aspects of it. So there's something about women having a choice, and that I'm hearing from you. So it's not just like, oh, I have a baby and I go somewhere and they're going to get my baby out for me. So there's something about, hey, I need to empower, I need to be part of it. And that's why you want to empower them to make the right choices, if I'm hearing you right. And then I also hear you say that birth has become very medicalized. So maybe we've also lost something in the process that was always quite normal, that we almost have to bring back to women. Like, hey, maybe back in the day, all this amount of empowerment wasn't even so necessary because it was more normal. But we've sort of have disempowered our women with everything we want to do for them, right? And that's why the empowerment is also so essential.
And I think because so many women don't recognize that they do have a choice, or how
Yeah.
many choices are available to them. And I think a lot of what I'm trying to share is there are choices. I know sometimes those choices are difficult, but to explore all the choices and options that are available so that you can find what works for you. Because I think the nature of things is that we very often only hear of the two extremes, that it's like either supernatural, you need to give birth under a tree with nobody around, or you need to do it in hospital surrounded by all the medical staff and all the equipments. And there's so much in
Yeah.
between. And if we can find the ground in between, then that just makes it a whole lot more palatable and easier.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, no, so true. We can talk about these forever, but I actually we were going to talk about something else, but this is a good setting the stage. Karen, empowerment is a buzzword that we do use a lot. We hear women empowering. So for you, how does it look like? How do you do it? I mean, I know you've got practical things that you've developed over the course of your life to empower women. Tell us a bit about that.
So for me, it's a lot about information, a sharing of information. And because I think I came into my midwifery in a very medicalized way, so I was taught in the medical way, then I realized at some stage that I need to unlearn some of that and relearn it in a way that really supported women. And so I do like to bring that balanced approach because I really believe that there's a place for the medicalization and
Yeah.
for the intervention. And so for women to understand the role of that intervention, but also to know that it's not the only way. And if we can
Yeah.
bring back the deep understanding and the deep trust in the process of pregnancy and birth, then it's a lot easier to understand where and why interventions might be necessary and what we can do to avoid them unless they are actually medically necessary. But to feel
Yes.
to be part of that process, because interventions in themselves are not bad, but when interventions are misused, then they're bad. And especially when they're misused to the point of the woman only realizing afterwards that it was misused, because then it's a would have, could have, should have, and there's so much regrets. And this is where we're seeing all the stuff of I didn't know, and I don't want a woman to say to me afterwards, I wish I'd known.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's powerful. Yes, exactly. Um, you Karen, you and me, we are both very passionate about natural birth. I think that's quite obvious. And we try to prevent a lot of interventions from happening. And that is where our empowerment starts. And you've got a nice approach on birth, and you've developed some beautiful tools to help women to achieve natural birth. Spill the beans.
Well, I've got two things. I've got an online program and community called the Due Date Club, which is all about the information, and it largely consists of 6 very, very basic and simple courses, which take them from the moment they found out they're pregnant, which for me is such an important time in pregnancy, because so often, especially now when we find out so early in pregnancy, and that's when you're like a sponge. It's when you want to know everything, and then you go to, well, first of all, you try and make an appointment, and the first thing you're told is you can't have an appointment until you're 12 weeks. And then we'll very often go and make an appointment to have an ultrasound, that whole dating scan. And if it's done too early, that can also be very frightening, because sometimes they don't see what they want to be to see. And that then they're told that the pregnancy is not viable, where it is, it's just that it's too early. So to have that support in place where you understand, okay, I'm just going to wait another few days before I book that first scan, and this is what I can expect to hear and be told at that first ultrasound. And then the next step after that is getting blood tests, and what are the sort of like the timeline of your pregnancy. So that's a course just sort of on what to expect. It's called Just Found Out, literally, and what to put in place in those first few weeks of pregnancy, and starting off the way they mean to go on, which is being informed, so not finding out things retrospectively. This is what I can expect. And then all the other courses are around sort of understanding what happens in pregnancy and birth, and preparing for breastfeeding and life with a newborn. but very much being a part of a community where there is also a sharing amongst moms as well as, bringing in the professional advice. And then the second thing that I've developed is the Relax in Sling. And the reason I called it relaxin, I mean, you know that the pregnancy hormone is relaxin. And I love that the word relaxin itself should just remind us that we really need to relax into everything about pregnancy. And the sling itself is designed that they can really relax into that. And I got the idea to create the sling really because in all the ancient traditions, women have used pieces of fabric suspended from the roof, specifically in the last stages of labor when they're bearing down, where it just enables them to sort of have something to hold on and pull as they're bearing down. And then, I sort of combined that with, seeing aerial yoga and all the things, and I do prenatal yoga as well. So I thought, how could I bring these two things together to one, help moms in the last weeks of pregnancy to find more comfort, specifically with the normal ailments, sort of lower back ache, and then also to use it to keep mobile, to stretch, to open, to get comfortable with how their body feels in different positions. Because if we look at women through the ages, they always used to say, scrub the floors. Well, nobody scrubs the floors any day. And they used to say, well, squat. Nobody squats. So we don't go into the positions that allow the pelvis to open and that allow us to get in touch with our body. Now, I personally cannot go into a squat without support. And the Relax in Sling allows women to go into positions that create space in the pelvis, and that also help them to get in touch with their body. And by using it correctly, it allows them to feel really weightless. So when it's used during pregnancy, it's about getting comfortable with their body and how their pelvis feels in different positions. It provides comfort. It allows them to become a little bit more stretchy and limber, but it also guides them to relax into it, literally. So what does it feel like to let go of all my body weight and become weightless as I breathe deeply? And while they're doing that, I've got a couple of visualizations that I encourage them to listen to, so that it's almost walking them through visually what happens in labor and all the changes that happen in their body. So hopefully by the time they go into labor, when they get into that sling, they're already comfortable using it. They know what it feels like, and they can then be weightless. Because one of the things I realized when I was working in the labor ward was that we're always saying to moms, get up, get active, especially when you're in your active stage of labor. We want you walking, we want you moving, but they're exhausted, they're tired. It's really difficult. They just don't have the stamina and the energy. And the sling allows them to be upright and in a position that facilitates the movements of the baby through the pelvis, but weightless. So
amazing.
Yeah. And the evidence or the anecdotal sort of feedback that I've had from the midwives and doulas who've been using it is that it definitely facilitates a smoother labor. I don't want to say faster, because it doesn't matter. It's not always about making labor go faster, but it definitely facilitates the progress of labor, and allows the uterus to contract more effectively. And if we've got effective contractions, we know that the labor will progress better.
Yeah, and if a mom is able to cope with everything better, that is what makes labor go better. So if she gets that support to still be in active birthing positions, but can relax in it, that is amazing. Yeah, I can totally see why it's such a wonderful aid.
Because the rest of her muscles, so she's not using any of her muscles to stay upright. She's completely weightless. So all the energy can then go to the uterus to facilitate what's happening there. And she can really relax into the whole process. So yes, absolutely, it definitely does.
It's wonderful. Yeah, it's a brilliant tool, Karen. I like it. And I like how you've taken ideas from back in the day, like as you said, the pulling onto something. And yeah, I've seen the sling, and it's a wonderful design. Well done on doing that. It's definitely someone that's been around the block when it comes to birth and labor and know what works. The sling is easy to move around and you can put it up anywhere, right? You just don't have to mount it on a roof or something.
No, I mean, it's certainly really nice to use if it is mounted on the roof. And so people who have got birth centers have put a hook up so that it's easy to hook onto, and they've got it suspended from the roof. But for the moms who are using it at home and who are birthing at home and don't have a hook, then it does come with a very easy to use door anchor that literally you sort of throw it over the door, close the door towards you, and then you're still able to hang into it and put your full weight. One of the feedback I get is that moms are really afraid of actually putting their full weight into it, especially if they're going into the forward leaning positions, because they are so afraid of falling onto their belly. Excuse me, but I did test it, and made sure that it can take in excess of 200 kilos. So the strength is very definitely there, and the door anchor itself is incredibly strong. So as long as there is a door in your home somewhere that you are able to use, then it can be used anyway. And some yoga classes, also those who offer aerial yoga, then I'm looking at working with prenatal yoga teachers who have got that, so that they can put together a class that moms can do that, especially in the last trimester.
Wonderful. Amazing. So Karen, if people want to get hands on a sling, where can they find it?
So I think the easiest at this stage is to go onto my website, which is dudateclub.co.za, and then just navigate to the page of the Relax in Sling. And then they can contact me, because I offer it both as a rental and to buy. So those who don't want to actually buy it can just rent it for the last month of their pregnancy and then return it. And then I've got a couple of doulas and midwives as well who either offer them as rentals, and I'm actually chatting to somebody in Joburg at the moment who will be the distributor in Johannesburg. So
Oh, brilliant.
once that's all tied up, then I'll make sure that her details are on the website, so that
Awesome.
she can be contacted there. And it's just a lot easier. I mean, it's really easy to courier them around the country, and that's generally how I do it. But it's always lovely if you have someone who can just help you set it up and show you exactly how it's used. I've also had a lot of interest from the chiropractors, which has been wonderful. So they're also seeing the benefits. And, especially now, because a lot of moms are going for a chiro adjustment in the last trimester, and we know what a difference it makes, then it's really nice that they, can then also work with the Relax in Sling.
Beautiful. Yes, that makes so much sense. That's interesting. So I really, I hope that many moms will be supported by this wonderful product that you've brought to the market. So we will definitely put in your details in the show notes and market it from our end. I think it's a great idea and a wonderful support. We will also put your website on in the show notes so people can find you, whether it's for the Due Date Club or just a sling. They definitely. I just have said in your intro already, you're the real deal and we need to check you out. Is there anything else that you would like to share in the final sentence, a message to the audience?
Because you are going to be sharing those details for the mums who are interested just in that, when they navigate to the Relax In page, all of those visualizations are there. And I mean, I think any pregnant mom will really benefit from listening to those. There's a list of 10, and they do go in sequence. And it's just a wonderful tool for them to use, whether they're having a home birth or a hospital birth or whatever, to tune into their body. That course is called The Safety Nets of Pregnancy. And it's just all the things that nature has put in place to protect mom and baby. And it's a lovely way of getting in touch with it, especially to overcome the natural fear of the unknown and a lot of the fear that is, I think, out there anyway, just because of social media and all the stuff that is there. So it's like an antidote to the fear. And it's a good place to
love it. We do need that so badly. Antidote to fear. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, love the work that you do. Thank you so much, Karen. It's always so good and inspiring to talk to you.
Thank you so much, Margriet, and lovely to connect with you again, and to all the moms who are listening.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you enjoyed this video, please share this with a friend who will benefit from this. And remember to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you can be notified whenever we release new videos like this on our channel. We'd love to stay in touch and keep you updated with all our latest content and resources to equip and empower you. So if you're a midwife or any type of birth and baby worker, go to sensitiveMidwifery.co.za/free gift. If you're a mom, visit sisterlillian.co.za/free gift for more training and resources. That way we can keep you up to date when we release new episodes like this, plus a few other bonuses. You can also find the links I just mentioned in the show notes. Remember, you're making a big difference because you are shaping the future of humankind. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to journeying with you.